I think we're live now.
Yeah, we are.
We're live. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, we're on.
Right. Yeah, cool. So, hi everyone. If you're watching this after the fact, this is our second story of live stream, and yeah, in this one we're going to be going through the story of Megadeth. I'm with John over at JT Rock and Metal Reviews. We got one viewer already, so that's cool. And it's Mr. Boulder.
Oh, Mr.
All right,
Boulder.
James. How are you doing, James? And John, how are you doing as well?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Nice.
So, Brody. Hey, Brody.
Nice.
I finally figured out how to put on my comments on. I can see the comments now.
Oh, nice.
On the side of my screen, so.
Yeah, cool. Wow, 4 already, right?
Yeah, so if we're ready, why don't you start?
Yeah, let's just get straight into it, yeah. So, yeah, obviously the first one that we did back in October was the Metallica one, and we thought, as that one was so successful, we thought we'd do another one. So, yeah, let's just get straight into this. I'm starting off this time with the 80s. So, yeah. So I thought I'd start with 1983, as that's a pretty pivotal point in the timeline. I was thinking about maybe starting with his time in Metallica, but I mean, I can just quickly say that now that he joined Metallica in 1981, I believe, or 1982. But that's not that important because it's not about that, but it's sort of for the story. He on the 11th of April, Dave Mustaine was fired by Metallica due to his substance abuse, personal conflicts with James Hetfield and Lars Ulrich. After this, he vowed revenge against his former bandmates, and he wanted to make his band play faster, heavier than Metallica. On the bus trip back to LA, he found a pamphlet by the Californian Senator Alan Cranston that read, "The arsenal of Megadeth can't be rid no matter what peace treaties come to." And that term Megadeth stuck with him. And yeah, he eventually went on to name his band after that. But after he arrived back in LA, he began searching for basically to make his band. He formed the band and originally called it Fallen Angels. So that must have been a little spell before he went with Megadeth. And then after a couple of failed attempts, he finally appointed Dave Ellefson and Greg Hanfelt. After they had moved to LA recently, and Dave Ellefson played bass and Greg played guitar. In a way, he was quite lucky in a way that he managed to stumble across them two straight away, pretty much, and managed to form the band after that. Linda's in the chat. Hi, Linda, and Pieface as well. All right, Simon. After that, Greg left, but Dave and both the Daves formed a pretty tight bond. And then after that, he tried to find multiple members. He auditioned 15 drummers before finding the right one. And then after 6 months of trying to find a lead vocalist, he got bored and decided to try doing the vocals himself. 1984, the band released their first demo tape called Last Rites on the 9th of March, featuring tracks that were later on their first album, Skull Beneath the Skin, Last Rites, and Mechanics. Dave Mustaine, Dave Ellison, and the drummer Lee Rausch performed on that demo. After that, they struggled to find a second guitarist. Slayer's Kerry King performed a couple of shows with the band as they were trying to find a more permanent replacement. Then after that, they replaced Rausch with jazz drummer Gar Samuelson. He also recommended his old jazz bandmate Chris Poland to be their new lead guitarist, and they both joined the band shortly after that. And then, that's sort of the first proper, Megadeth lineup, really, with Gar Samuelson and Chris Poland in the band. And then after that, 1985, they signed to Combat Records, and they gave them $8,000 to make their first album. After that, they very stupidly, I think, decided to spend half of that money on drugs and alcohol and all sorts of crap like that. And also, they fired their producer and finished the album themselves. But on the 12th of June, they released "Killing Is My Business," which I've got right here. Oops, that would help. Glare. There we go. That's better. "Killing Is My Business" and "Business Is Good." It was very successful in the underground, propelling Megadeth as one of the forerunners in thrash. However, there was a lot of controversy over their Nancy Sinatra cover, "These Boots," and modern reissues like the one I've got doesn't have the song on it. But I
think that's the one that was released on it was like the 20th or 30th anniversary or something like that. I have that in my notes for like the 2010s. I know they re-released it. Yeah.
This came out in 2011.
Actually, I have it as 2018. 35th anniversary. That's probably the one you have, I guess, right?
No, I've got this is 2011.
Okay, so you have a different reissue. Okay.
Yeah, it says.
But I'll
hang on. Sort of.
But I know that they removed the "These Boots," and I thought that's a decent song, but. I've never listened to it because I've only listened to this version. Oh, you never heard "These Boots" yet?
Yeah, I've never heard it.
I actually had I had the original version on cassette years ago, but I lost it over the years. But it's a good album. It's just very raw, right? It's very,
The production is really, really, really raw. For me, I think that probably lets it down, but musically, it's a great, really good start for them. Really, we've got quite a few people in the chat. Metal Marty Mac. Nice. The cover was expensive. I think they redid the cover for, like you said, on the 35th anniversary, because that I'm pretty certain that was what he wanted the album to look like. And then, he gave them the drawings and everything, and that was what Combat come up with, and he was really, really disappointed. Nice to see Metal Marty Mac in the chat. Brody said they haven't heard any of their albums. That's fair enough. Haven't got that album. Yeah, nice. Yeah, Al. Kim from This Is Music. Nice. How are you doing? Pretty cool. Move on. Should we move on? Yeah, okay. 1986. After that, they signed to Capitol Records, and due to financial limitations, Combat was willing to give them for their second album.
Yeah.
Combat paid $25,000 to produce the album. But once it was finished, Capitol brought the rights to release it, and they remixed it as well. On the 19th of September, they released Peace Sells. There it is. Oops, not very well done.
Peace Sells.
Yeah. Peace Sells, but who's buying? This was a massive step up from their debut. Possibly their best ever album, but that's debatable. Always debatable. It's always either this or Rust in Peace, really. But yeah, this was a massive album for them at the time in 1986.
Yeah, I think that's a great album. The only one song I don't like is the cover song of I think so. You Ain't Superstitious.
Yeah,
it's I Ain't Superstitious, right?
I Ain't Superstitious. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the one that like they could have left that one off, but otherwise it's just a killer album.
Yeah. Mine's the remastered version that's got all the extra tracks there.
Yeah,
pretty cool. And then I thought I'd show this is my dad's OG vinyl.
Oh, cool.
Which is 86 original. Let's have a look. Brody says I've heard some Megadeth albums, but not all of them. Okay, that's fair. Not Marky Mac. Oh, they're just chatting. They're just chatting among themselves. That's fair enough. That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Okay, 1987. Megadeth opened for Alice Cooper's Constrictor tour, and they headlined their first world tour as well. After this, Samuelson and Poland were both fired from the band. Samuelson for his heavy drug abuse, not allowing him to perform at his high level. And Poland was fired because for his suspected selling of gear for heroin, which, okay. Yeah. I'm not sure if it was ever proved. I can't remember. I'm not 100% sure on that. I think Dave just had he sort of just was like, he had his suspicions, so he fired him over it. But yeah, I don't know. And then after that, Chuck Beeler was appointed on drums, as he was with the band at the time. Anyway, I think he was Samuelson's guitar tech, drum tech. I think he was his drum tech. So that was how that happened. And Jay Reynolds was Poland's replacement. However, weeks into recording their next album, he was replaced by his guitar teacher, Jeff Young, which I didn't know until I read that.
Yeah.
Peace Sells is great. Even like the cover song. I think it's all right. Who let the Metal Marty Max says who let the dog out?
Oh, I was about to ask you if there was dog barking in the background, if you can hear it. So if it does get bad, let me know and I'll mute my mic. But
that's fine.
We might be hearing that during the stream.
Pie Face, a few more CDs and masters. I think that I don't know if you know that, John, about these remasters, and they along the seam here. If you get them all, it makes a Vic Rattlehead, which I think.
Oh, I think cool. I read that because they released all of them at once. I think.
Yeah, I think it's all the Capitol albums.
Yeah, it was the Capitol albums. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's all the Capitol. Yeah.
That's cool. Actually,
That's pretty cool. I think that'd be pretty cool to get one day. Maybe all I've got some of them. I've got this one up to Rust in Peace, and then I've got my dad's originals Countdown to Extinction all the way to Cryptic, but we'll get to that later, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's move on. In 1988, they released their third album, So Far So Good, So What.
Yeah, cool. So this one I have this is the old one from the 80s I bought. Probably one of the first ones I got. Actually, I don't have the jewel case anymore, but is that you have a newer one? Or is that the newer one?
This one's remastered. It's got some extra remix tracks.
This is the one that was released on Combat. Yeah.
Oh, nice. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. But okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, continue. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The production of the album was halted due to Dave Mustaine's ongoing drug problems and his disagreements with the producer again. Eventually it was remixed and re-released to pretty great success, although I think this album, quite wrongfully, but I understand why, but it gets a bit overlooked. Maybe because, it's sandwiched between two absolute classics that it kind of, gets looked upon like, it's all right, but it's not as good as,
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a really great album. Yeah, some really cool stuff on it. Right, okay. So they toured the album, opening for Dio and Iron Maiden on their respective tours. They also headlined their own US tour with Warlock and Sanctuary, and also a European tour with Testament, Nuclear Assault, Flotsam and Jetsam, and Sanctuary. In August, they performed at Donington Monsters of Rock, and they were meant to play at the European Monsters of Rock, but they had to pull out because of Dave Ellison's drug addictions.
Yeah.
But his treatment was pretty short. Not long after that, Dave fired Chuck Beeler and Jeff Young, therefore cancelling their tour in Australia. Chuck was fired due to Mustaine noticing a lot of problems developing with him on the tour. Tensions began to rise. Jeff Young was fired because Dave had suspicions that he was having an affair with his girlfriend at the time. Something that Jeff denied, but I mean, we'll never know if that's true. So yeah, once again, Dave looking for a new lineup. And lastly, to finish off the 80s, Nick Menza, who was Chuck Beeler's drum tech, was appointed as their new drummer. They tried to find a replacement guitarist, however, they were unsuccessful. The band never toured or played a show throughout the whole of 1989. They recorded a cover of Alice Cooper's No More Mr. Nice Guy, which featured on the soundtrack to the horror film Shocker. The music video was pretty difficult to film as Mustaine was unable to play guitar because of his drug addiction and his massive issues that he had around the time. In March, during auditions for a new lead guitarist, he was arrested for driving under the influence, possession of narcotics after crashing into a parked vehicle occupied by an off-duty police officer. Ooh. That's not a good idea. Mustaine entered court-ordered drug rehab shortly after that and became drug-free for the first time in 10 years. And then after that, he was able to get the band back together and continue the search for a new lead guitarist. And then I guess that goes straight into the 90s, which we'll take over now.
Yep. Yeah, I'll take over now. Let me just add one more thing. This is they put out this. Well, this is a soundtrack called "Decline of Western Civilization Part 2, and it does have Dave Mustaine on the cover. And this soundtrack does feature Megadeth in My Darkest Hour, which was probably the best song from this album. This is probably my favorite song. from the So Far So Good album. And this was released in '88, so I just wanted to mention that. And that's kind of continuing where you left off with the whole DWI and the drug possession thing. So he went to rehab, but then at this point they're looking for a new guitarist. So they had a couple of people who were rumored, like for example, like Slash. He was maybe being considered, but he stayed in Guns N' Roses. Dimebag Darrell. He was actually offered a job, and this was back when Pantera wasn't really known. But he didn't take it because he wanted Vinnie Paul to come on as well. So he turned it down. They also gave Jeff Loomis. He was from Nevermore and I believe Arch Enemy. He didn't take it. And Chris Oliva, he wanted to stay in Sabotage. So, but they hired Marty Friedman because a member of Capitol Records heard his solo album called The Dragon's Kiss. At that time, he was in also the band Cacophony. So he was hired for Megadeth. And then they went to record Rust in Peace. Now, this is another one. This is another CD I had. This is the one I bought when it came out. And this is the one that everyone loves. This is just a great album.
Yeah.
So we have the first song is Holy War's Punishment Due. This one also, it's cool. You got that one as well.
I got the remastered one.
Yeah, I mean, Holy War's Punishment. That's just an awesome song. Hang Our Teens, great. Take No Prisoners. Five Magics. Poison Was a Cure. Lucretia. Tornado Souls is probably like the third best song. Dawn Patrol and Rust in Peace. That's pretty much a solid album. And this is the one that most people love. It's either this one or Peace Sells would like the best.
Yeah. For me, it's Rust in Peace. It's so close.
I would say Rust in Peace as well.
Yeah. It's just so solid. Even like Dawn Patrol, I know it's like almost like a little break in the album, but even that is really, really cool. Like that bass playing from Dave Ellison is just really, really, really cool. Yeah.
And this one also has the lineup of Dave Mustaine, Dave Ellison, Nick Menza, and Marty Friedman. This is probably like their best lineup, and they did stick together. I believe it was on the next couple of albums. So anyway, moving on. Rust in Peace is actually nominated for a Grammy, and they didn't win. They actually got a lot of Grammy nominations, but they didn't actually win until later on. And they went on the Clash of the Titans tour with Slayer, Testament, and Suicidal Tendencies. Okay, moving on to 1991. They released a song called Go to Hell. That was from the Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey soundtrack. That was another one I used to have. That's a pretty cool album. Then 1992, they started recording Countdown to Extinction, and that one came out on July 14th, 1992. And this one I also have, the CD from back in the day.
Yep.
So this is the one released on Capitol and Combat.
Yeah.
And this is another album. I think this one, they kind of like, this came out after the Metallica's Black album. So I think they kind of like took that as like an influence. It kind of like made the songs like maybe like a little more, I guess, catchier, but still heavy thrash metal. And this is just an awesome album. So some of my favorite songs, Skin of My Teeth. That one's great. Symphony of Destruction. They have Foreclosure of a Dream as a ballad. That one I like a lot. Sweating Bullets. That one's really cool. That one had a really cool music video. High Speed Dirt and Psychotron Captive Honor. So, and closing out with Ashes in Your Mouth. So this is a really good album. Has the same lineup. And I think this is a really great follow-up to Rust in Peace. So moving on.
Really solid.
Yeah. It's also like this is also their biggest album. I actually remember this. Like they used to play their video before. They used to play videos on MTV, and it was only they would play like on Headbangers Ball Night. But I think when this album came out, like they would play music videos for like Sweating Bullets. They would play it like during like the evenings as well. So they kind of got a lot more, more into the mainstream. And I think Metallica's Black Album kind of like paved the way for that. So also in '92, they went on tour with Pantera, White Zombie. And they recorded a song called Angry Again for the Last Action Hero soundtrack. That was a Schwarzenegger movie. Another pretty good song. 1993, they record a song called 99 Ways to Die, which was for a Beavis and Butthead album, which I probably had a long time ago. And I used to watch that show. Anyway, that song was actually nominated for Best Metal Performance in 95. Again, they didn't win. They did a cover of Paranoid, the Black Sabbath song for Nativity in Black. It was a tribute album. That's another really great Black Sabbath covers album. 1994, they start to record Euthanasia. Now, this one, I think I used to have the CD. I lost it. But this one came out in 1994. This was I know you have this. I know you reviewed it on your channel because...
Yeah, I defended this to the end of the earth. Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I think I didn't like it that much, when it came out. But then, I got into it a lot more after I started listening to it again recently. It's actually really good. It's like it's not as thrashy, as the earlier stuff, but the songs are very well written.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Really, really solid album. Obviously, it's not as good as like the early stuff that come before it, but there's some really solid songs on here, sort of more in the vein of like heavy metal, hard rock. But sort of if you take it like that, you can really enjoy this album for certain. There's some really, really great songs on here, like Reckoning Day, Train of Consequences, Tout le Monde, Killing Road, really, really great. I Thought I Knew It All was a really cool. I really like that song.
I like that one. Addicted to Chaos. That's another one.
Addicted to Chaos. Yeah, I think that's probably my favorite song on the album. But it's just full of really, really cool songs. Yeah. Kim's just said it. Euthanasia isn't bad. It's not bad. It's pretty good. Actually, I haven't been keeping up with. Well, I've been trying to keep up, but it's pretty hard. Although I think everyone's just been chatting amongst themselves for the most part.
Well, yeah, okay, so
that's fair enough. But that's cool. Yeah.
So I have the chat here as well. So
yeah.
Cool.
Best metal. I guess that's Beavis and Butthead. Metal Marty Max talking about.
Yeah, I don't know if I think that they brought it back. I don't know if you've watched it. I mean, I watched it. I was, young at the time. I was in my 20s when it first came out. But it was like a cartoon, and then these like guys would just like watch music videos and just like joke about them. You can look them up on YouTube.
Yeah, I've seen little clips here and there. Yeah. I think Loudwire did a video about some of the funniest bits on Beavis and Butthead, but I haven't watched like a full episode or anything. But yeah.
Okay. Anyway, let me move.
Let's move on.
19. Where was I? 94.
Would have been about 90.
1995. Okay, so they went on a few tours and actually saw them live. It was with Ozzy Osbourne, and I don't remember the name of the tour. I don't know if it was Ozfest or one of those tours, but I did see Megadeth with Ozzy back then. They released Diadems, a song from the Demon Knight soundtrack. And they also released an album called Hidden Treasures, and that had all those songs, all those like soundtrack songs and B-sides and all. That's actually a very good album. So it's almost like an album in itself. 1996, Megadeth, they kind of like take a break. Dave Mustaine, he recorded a side project called MD45. It's kind of like more of like a punk rock album. I probably listened to it a few times. It's okay, but it's not Megadeth. And then after that, they went to London to start working on the next album. 1997, they released Cryptic Writings, and the lead single was Trust. If you have that one, this one actually I don't have.
I've got that one.
I like this album, yeah. I think it's a decent album. Again, it's kind of like a continuation of like Euthanasia, more of that like hard rock or heavy metal style. But I think the songs are pretty good.
Yeah.
Same lineup. You got Dave Mustaine, Dave Ellefson, Marty Friedman, Nick Menza. And good songs. I like Almost Honest, A Secret Place. That's a pretty cool melodic song. And She-Wolf, which is actually more of like, that's a heavier song. Okay.
Yeah.
Next, 1998. So Nick Menza leaves the band. So basically, Nick Menza says that he had a tumor on his knees, that he had cancer. But then Dave Mustaine kind of like said that he wasn't, he was making it up or something like that. But he was replaced by Jimmy DeGrasso. And next is 1999. They start writing the next album, Risk. And that's one of those albums. I mean, fans like don't like it at all. I actually like it. You got to kind of go into it, as knowing that it's not a Megadeth album. It's more of like maybe, I guess, alternative rock or hard rock. But I think it is, a good album if you look at it like that. Prince of Darkness, a really good song. The Doctor is Calling. Ecstasy. It also has they had a lead single called Crush 'Em. That was also on Universal Soldier: The Return soundtrack. That one I actually have. I just couldn't find it. That was a soundtrack that has like a lot of like industrial music. And they did a cover of Never Say Die from the second Nativity in Black album. That's a Black Sabbath song. And Marty Friedman quits the band. He didn't like the musical direction the band was going in, and they also replaced he was replaced by Al Pitrelli. And I see in the comments section people in that don't really like Risk. This is music. Risk.
Yeah. Kim, this is music.
People don't
listen to it.
Risk is good if you give it a chance. If you go into it knowing that it's not a metal album or a thrash album, but it does have some melodic stuff. Mr. Boulder, Hidden Treasures. That's an awesome CD because it has all those songs that were from the soundtracks. So it's almost like a whole studio album in itself. It has all different songs.
I've not listened to that.
Pie Face, Morbid Angel, that one I never saw. Okay. I think that's pretty much all it. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Was that about the... Oh, yeah. I think that was about the...
Morbid Angel. Actually, that's not really the band I'm into. I don't know if you're into Morbid Angel. But
yeah, I quite like Morbid Angel.
You like them?
Yeah. I'll give them a bit of a listen. Would have been last year now. Yeah, I checked a couple of their stuff out, and I thought I was pretty impressed. I quite liked them. Covenant. Yeah, I listened to a bit of everything really. I took some songs off each album and saw what I thought, and I thought pretty good.
Yeah, I think I've listened to their first album. A lot of people, say that's pretty much like a death metal classic. It's Pillars of something, but anyway, move on.
Anyway, we're talking about we're on Megadeth. I mean, maybe one day we could do a Morbid Angel one. I mean,
I wouldn't mind diving into their catalog, because I have been getting into death metal a lot recently. So maybe potentially we can do that. It's Altars of Madness.
Thanks,
I met him morning about it.
Awesome. Right. Moving on to the 2000s. Al Pitrelli. We've done that bit.
At this point, Al Pitrelli has replaced Marty Friedman. So
he was appointed to replace Marty Friedman. and the band started work on a new album before putting it on hold due to being offered to join Anthrax and Motley Crue on a pretty big tour called the Maximum Rock Tour. However, at the time, Anthrax got cut from the bill and Megadeth got booked to do like a double headline slot. However, the ticket sales didn't go well, probably due to what they just released a year before that, I guess. In July, they left Capitol Records after 15 years due to ongoing tensions with the management. However, before they left, they released a greatest hits compilation featuring songs from Cryptic Writings, Euthanasia, 2 new songs that would be used for their next album as well. In November, they signed with Sanctuary Records. After this, they returned to the studio to finish making their album. And Mustaine, once again, firing their producer to finish it off himself. Why bother hiring one if Dave gets bored and wants to do it all himself? Why bother? But yeah. So after that, 2001, Megadeth appeared on VH1 documentary series Behind the Music. And on the 15th of May, they released their 9th album, The World Needs a Hero. This was a slight return to form for the band, moving back down the path of their earlier to mid sound, or it was a bit heavier than the albums that came before it. It debuted at number 16 on the Billboard 200, and the album was banned in Malaysia due to the album artwork, which is a bit mad. It's a bit of a crazy.
Yeah, because it has somebody coming out of a.
Yeah, Vic Rattlehead. Is it Vic Rattlehead coming out like Alien?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I've not listened to The World Needs a Hero, so I've no idea.
I've listened to it. I mean, I've streamed it. I like the first song. I think it's called Disconnect. That one I like a lot, but the album as a whole is kind of hit or miss. You know, there are some really good songs, some songs that are kind of just okay. But my favorite song is the one Disconnect. Really love that one.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Just hello, Cloudy Milder. Yeah. I think he's kind of just like popped in.
Yeah, he's just dropped in to say hi and then gone off again. Hi and bye, I guess.
Well, yeah, that's fine. I know it's
fair enough.
It's nighttime.
I appreciate that. This music, Kim says it was pretty enjoyable. Yeah, fair enough. I saw something. How much of an arsehole David? Yeah, he's a bit big-headed, Dave. I remember when this is going to go back to the Metallica thing again, but when he first auditioned for Metallica, he very arrogantly said, "I'm probably the best guitarist you've ever seen or ever heard." And but although to be fair, when he did go into that audition, he got the gig, so you know, fair enough. But especially when reading this and finding how many times he fired a producer because he didn't like the production or he wanted to just do it all himself, you know, and also how many musicians he's had in the band. He probably is a bit difficult to work with, or especially back in them days, he probably was a bit more tricky to work with, I guess. But yeah. What's the story with all the musicians, guitarists? Yeah, that's pretty much it. He always had, you know, he always felt. I think he's one of them people that would just fall out with anyone over absolutely nothing. Especially, you know, when he was a bit younger, he come across it as that. I think he's changed a lot now. You know, in recent years. I think he has changed a lot. But yeah, I think as he's got older, he's sort of dropped that a bit. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, let's move on to this. Yeah, that's a fair point. Fair point. They toured the World Needs a Hero album with AC/DC in Europe and with Iced Earth and Endo in North America. Fans from each American city were allowed to choose the set list. However, the tour was cut short due to the September 11 attack. Yeah. On November the 16th and the 17th, they played 2 shows in Arizona instead of doing that tour that they didn't do. Shows were filmed and recorded and were released as the band's first ever live album. It was entitled Rude Awakening, was released the year after. Lastly, the band's debut album was remixed, remastered, and featured modified artwork. But yeah. 2002 to 2003, this is the part where Megadeth basically broke up and he wasn't sure if he was ever going to play guitar ever again. Saw them September 12th.
Oh, in Vancouver.
Okay, yeah. All right. Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah. Okay, so yeah. So in January of 2002, Mustaine was hospitalized for the removal of a kidney stone, and he was administered painkillers that triggered a relapse to his drug addiction. Whilst he was there, he checked himself into a treatment center, and whilst in the waiting room or whatever he was, he fell asleep with his left arm on the back of this chair, causing compression of a radial nerve, which subsequently diagnosed him with radial neuropathy. Yeah, neuropathy, which left him unable to grasp and make a fist with his left hand, which is pretty important to Dave Mustaine when he's trying to play guitar. And that was what caused his arm problem. And then after that, on April the 3rd, he announced in a press release that he was disbanding Megadeth after that arm injury basically rendered him unable to play guitar. And for the next 4 months, he went through physical therapy 5 days a week. And he slowly began to reteach himself how to play guitar. Obviously, that rehabilitation, I mean, I can kind of sympathize with that as a guitarist. If I'm left-handed, but if my right hand went through something like that, I'd be absolutely devastated myself. Okay, I've lost my thing. Yeah. Okay, so to fulfill contract obligations to Sanctuary, Megadeth released a compilation album called Still Alive and Well. The album features live tracks and tracks from The World Needs a Hero. And then in 2003, following almost a year of recovery, including physical and electroshock therapy, Mustaine began on what was supposed to have been his first ever solo album. New material was recorded with session musicians in October 2003, the project was put on hold when Mustaine agreed to remix and remaster all of Megadeth's 8-track albums with the Capitol Records. I guess that's with the whole Vic Rattlehead things that I showed earlier. I think, I've got a couple of them.
Yeah, I think so. Somebody mentioned it came out in 2004, right?
Yeah. Re-recording, and that's another thing. He did re-record some things with some of them remasters. I do remember seeing that somewhere, that there was some like certain parts of certain tracks he re-recorded and remade for these remasters. Bits that he didn't like or was altered without his knowledge during the original mix, which I found that quite interesting. Right, I'm just reading the chat. 2004. In May 2004, Mustaine returned to his solo project. However, due to contractual obligations with their European label EMI, he was forced to put the album under the Megadeth name. After this, he reformed the band he tried to get the classic lineup back together. The classic Marty Friedman, Nick Menza. However, at the time, Dave Ellefson and Marty Friedman wouldn't agree to it. And so it never happened. After that, he managed to get Chris Poland to record a couple of solos for the upcoming album, but he didn't want to return full time. He did some vocals almost in peace. Oh, okay. And the originals are much better. That's James, Mr. Boulder says that. Light Fall. How you doing, guys? Nice of you to join tonight. Hope the stream's been going. Yeah, it's been going really well, thanks. Okay, yeah, we're up to 2004 currently. On September the 14th, Megadeth released their 10th album, The System Has Failed. The album was really well received and debuted at number 18 on the Billboard 200. I thought this album was pretty good, even though I can understand why they wanted to release it as a solo album, because there are some tracks on here that throw a bit of a curveball, let's say. A song like The Scorpion and Of Mice and Men are really, really super different to Megadeth. But then there's songs like Blackmail the Universe, Kick the Chair, Something That I'm Not, Truth Be Told, that are very Megadeth sounding. But yeah, I guess you've not listened to it, John.
Yeah, I've listened to it. I like The Scorpion. That's a pretty cool song.
Yeah. There's some good stuff on here, but because it was supposed to have been a solo album by Dave, I kind of don't really see it as a full and proper Megadeth album. As I said before, it's only because of the record label it's got the Megadeth name on it, because they had to fulfill their contract.
Yeah.
So, that's why I see it a little different to, other Megadeth albums, but still got some really cool stuff on here, especially Blackmail the Universe. I think that song was worthy of any Megadeth album, really. But pretty cool album. After that, they began the Blackmail the Universe tour, and they got a touring bass player called James McDonough of Iced Earth and Glenn Drover of King Diamond at the time. He was in King Diamond. 5 days before the first show, Nick Menza was replaced by Sean Drover, Glenn Drover's brother. And then the band toured in the US with Exodus and in Europe with Diamond Head and Dungeon. After this, Mustaine announced that this would be their last album and last tour, and after this, he would focus on solo career. We've got some. Paul DeVito says, great album. Chris Poland Shred. Yeah, Chris Poland does some pretty cool guitar solos on System Has Failed. First 3 tracks at Killer, yeah. 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 Cool. Let's move on to... Yeah, everyone says it's pretty good. That's cool. Right. 2005. In June 2005, Capitol released a greatest hits compilation called Greatest Hits Back to Start, featuring remixed and remastered versions of songs chosen by fans from their Capitol albums. In mid-2005, Mustaine organised a metal tour called the Gigantour. Megadeth headlined the inaugural tour with Dream Theater, Nevermore, Anthrax, and Fear Factory. That would have been a really good show, actually. Shame I was 5 at the time. The Montreal and Vancouver shows were filmed and recorded for a live DVD and CD box set, which released a year after. That'd be quite cool to get as well. On the 9th of October, following the success of The System Has Failed and the subsequent tour, Mustaine announced to a sold-out crowd in Argentina that Megadeth would carry on. The concert was held at the Horas Sanitarias Stadium in Buenos Aires in front of 25,000 fans, and it was filmed and then released a couple of years later, and it was called That One Night in Buenos Aires, and I've actually got it here. And yeah, I guess the significance of this live album or DVD is the fact that, that this is the night where Mustaine announced that Megadeth were going to carry on, because I guess at the time, obviously Megadeth fans would have thought that they were going to quit. They weren't going to be anymore. And then after this, they said that they were going to carry on, which, I think that's really cool. And again, that would have been really cool to have been around at the time to witness that. I think it would have been really, really cool. Right. 2006. In February, their bass player left the band due to personal differences, and he was replaced by James Lomenzo, who'd worked with Dave Lee Roth, White Lion, and Black Label Society. The new Megadeth lineup made its first appearance in the Dubai Desert Rock Festival in the United Arab Emirates with Testament. In March, Capitol released a 2-disc DVD called The Arsenal of Megadeth, which included live archive footage, interviews, live shows, and just a bunch of unseen stuff. Just a bunch of unseen stuff. The second Gigantour began in the autumn of 2006. Megadeth headlining again, but with Lamb of God, Opeth, Arch Enemy, and Overkill. Again, that would have been a really good lineup as well.
Yeah, that sounds like a great show. Yeah.
That would be really, that would have been a really great show, especially around that time. The tour included 3 dates in Australia, and with that they had Soulfly, Arch Enemy, and Caliban to support. And then after that, they announced that their new album was almost complete. 2007 now. Before releasing the album, Megadeth signed to Roadrunner Records after leaving Sanctuary. And on the 15th of May, they released their 11th album, United Abominations. Debuted at number 8 on the Billboard 200, their highest position since Euthanasia. And it sold 54,000 copies in its first week. Features a remake of the song "Tu Le Monde" from Euthanasia, featuring Christina Scabbia of Lacuna Coil on the guest vocals.
And I like that version better. I think some people don't like it, but I like it. I like that version a lot.
Yeah, I think it's really, really cool. It's a little bit different with the guitar solos, a bit different, and the pace of the song is a bit faster. But yeah, I think it's a really, really cool remake, and a really, really great album.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
Another underrated one, I think. Another really underrated one. There's some great songs on here, like Sleepwalker, Washington Is Next, Never Walk Alone, Blessed Are the Dead, pretty cool. You're Dead, that's pretty cool. Burnt Ice, great guitar solo in that song, Burnt Ice. Well, some great guitar solos all the way through, pretty much, but yeah, solid. Yeah, another pretty good album. Yeah, it's pretty solid. In March, Megadeth began a North American tour, opening for the newly reformed Heaven and Hell. They played with Down for the Canadian shows and Machine Head for the US dates. A European summer tour followed late in that year. Megadeth returned to the United States to headline its Tour of Duty tour in November. In November, the band brought the Gigantour to Australia with a lineup including Static X, Devil Driver, and Lacuna Coil. In 2008, in January 2008, Glenn Drover quit the band, stating he was tired of frequent touring and wanted to spend more time with his family. He also cited personal issues with the band members as another reason. So Drover was replaced by Chris Broderick, formerly of Nevermore and Jack Panzer. Broderick was initially asked by Mustaine's management company at the end of 2007 if he'd be interested in auditioning. And after an informal meeting at Mustaine's house, he was introduced as the band's new guitarist. And still to this day, Mustaine credits him to be one of the best guitarists he's ever played with. And Chris Broderick is unbelievable guitar player, and he definitely shows it on the next album. On the 4th of February, the new lineup made its live debut in Helsinki at the Ice Hall in Helsinki. The 2008 Gigantour, the 29 North American dates shortly after that. Mustaine wanted a shorter lineup for the tour, allowing each band to have a better chance, more playing time as well. The third tour featured In Flames, Children of Bodom, Job for a Cowboy, and High on Fire. That would have been a pretty good show to go to.
That's
really cool bands there. Megadeth continued the Tour of Duty in South America and Mexico in May and June. And in September, a compilation album called Anthology Set the World Afire was released. I think I've got that on a hard drive somewhere, on an MP3 download somewhere, on a disc. That anthology. I think it basically features like 2 or 3 songs off every album, which is pretty cool. Okay, we're getting towards 2009. In February, Megadeth and Testament were scheduled on the European Priest Feast tour with Judas Priest. But around that time, Metallica had been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they invited Dave Mustaine to attend the ceremony. Mustaine was informed that he would not be inducted into the Hall of Fame with them because he didn't have a recording credit on a Metallica album, even though he's got like 8 writing credits. That's a bit strange to me, but yeah, whatever. Mustaine congratulated the band respectfully and honoured his commitment to the European tour of Judas Priest. So basically, he just gave them that. Yeah, thanks, but no thanks. I'm gonna go play with my own band. And then after that, in April, Megadeth and Slayer co-headlined the Canadian Carnage. That was the first time they performed together in more than 15 years. Megadeth and Suicide Silence opened for the shows that occurred later in June. Now, that would have been a really, really cool gig to go to. Machine Head, Suicide Silence, Megadeth, Slayer. That would have been awesome. I saw Megadeth just went open for Priest. That must have been on that. Yeah, must have been. Must have been on that tour.
Yeah, that's a good lineup.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay. On the 15th of September, they released their 12th album, Endgame. This debuted at number 9 on the Billboard and was number 1 on the US top hard rock albums. The song Head Crusher was nominated for a Grammy. And I don't think they got it again. I think they've been nominated for quite a few Grammys, but I think they did get one, but I think that'll be coming up.
They were nominated for like 12, but they do get one, which I will mention when it comes.
It will come up later. Love to see Testament. Yeah, Testament, a great band. They were the last band I got to see 2 years ago. But this album, fantastic. I think this is the best album they've done since Countdown to Extinction. I really rate this.
Yeah, it's probably the best of the more modern era. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Really great album.
For 44 seconds, right?
Yeah, 44 minutes.
44 minutes. That's a good song. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a great song, and also Bite the Hand, Bodies, Head Crusher. I
like the title track too, Endgame, right?
Yeah. Endgame is really, really. I think that's quite underrated. That song.
Yeah.
But yeah, just brilliant. Chris Broderick absolutely rips on this album. His guitaring is unreal. Love the solos on the first song. Yeah, that first track, Dialectic Chaos, the instrumental intro, and they basically have a shred battle. That is really, really great. Said about Endgame being, I think it is. I really do think it is. It's so good. I saw Testament completely mess up Native Blood live. They had to stop mid-song and start again. Oh man, I've never had that experience at a live gig where they've made a complete mess of a song and had to do it again. Oh man. Mr. Boulder, Endgame is one of the best Megadeth albums of the last 20. Yeah, I agree. I think it's probably I think it probably their best album in the last 20 years. But yeah, just to quickly end 2009, the 2000s, Megadeth began that tour in October, finished it in December. The tour featured Machine Head, Suicide Silence, and Warbringer. And that brings us into the 2010s. So, John.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll be doing 2010 to the present.
Yeah.
Not really much going on in like the second half of this, but anyway. So 2010, they go out on the American Carnage tour with Slayer and Testament. And again, another Grammy nomination for the song Head Crusher, but they didn't win. They went out on the 20th anniversary Rust in Peace tour, and they played a few European Big Four shows. Now, 2011, Megadeth and Slayer go on the European Carnage tour. So they released a DVD of Rust in Peace Live. And in November 2011, they released the album 13. This is one, I guess it's okay. I mean, it's not one of the best, but I think it has some good songs. Like it has Public Enemy #1. I think some of the songs are kind of cheesy in that one, but
yeah, it's not the best. It's not as good as what came before it.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a bad album, but I think it's kind of like a step down from like Endgame.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, moving on. 2012, they go on the Countdown to Extinction live tour. That's celebrating 20th anniversary, so they play that album live. And another song from 13 called Whose Life Is It Anyways, that's nominated for a Grammy. Obviously, doesn't win again. 2013, they released Super Collider, another album that people don't like. And it's kind of like an album more like Risk, where they kind of like took a step back. It's more of like a rock album, but I thought it had some pretty good songs. Like the one Kingmaker I like, that's actually a very heavy song. They do a cover of Cold Sweat, which was a Thin Lizzy song, and that one I liked a lot. So Super Collider, again, I don't think it's that bad, but they actually kind of like took it back and then they went more into that rock direction again. 2014, they did have some problems, so they did have to cancel a few tours. I know Dave Mustaine had some complications with some spine surgery. They were going to do some things like a mega cruise and something with Motorhead, but they didn't go through. Now, 2015, they start to get ready to their new album, Dystopia. So, again, Mustaine tried to reunite the Rust in Peace lineup again, but, I guess Marty Friedman didn't want to go for it. And actually, Nick Menza ended up dying of a heart attack that year in 2015 as well. But he did get Chris Adler from Lamb of God and Kiko Loureiro from Angra. And then October of 2015, they released the single Fatal Illusion. So that was available for streaming back in 2015. And 2016, they released Dystopia. This is actually their last album. In January 2016, they went on a North American tour with Suicidal Tendencies, Children of Bodom, and Havoc. And then another U.S. tour late September, October with Amon Amarth, Suicidal Tendencies, Metal Church, and Butcher Babies. You have Dystopia, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. That's a great album. I think they really went back to that old kind of like Rust in Peace kind of style with that album. I like this one a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. This, for me, this and Endgame are the best albums that they've done since Countdown to Extinction. It's just solid all the way through. And Kiko's guitaring really adds something extra to this. His guitar playing is very similar to Marty Friedman, but he adds something a little bit extra, something a little bit different. I guess that's for his sort of Latin influence. He puts a bit of that in this album, and I really like that. And moving on to their sort of album that's coming out this year, I hope they put a bit more of that in their new one, because I really enjoyed it with this.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm going to be talking about that next, because this new album has pretty much been planned since like 2017, and so that's pretty much all they did in 2017. Started just writing this album. 2018 was when they re-released "Killing Is My Business" for the 35th anniversary. That was the one that was the. I thought you had that album, but they actually remastered that one. 2019, again, they're starting to like tease the next album. I know they kind of like released like little snippets here and there of, a couple of riffs. They start some pre-production. 2020, in the beginning of January, February, they go on tour with Five Finger Death Punch and Bad Wolves. But then, as we all know, in March 2020, COVID broke out and things get canceled, postponed. And so they go back into the studio in 2020. 2021, Dave Mustaine announces the title, The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead. And also in 2021, David Ellefson, he was fired. We all know what happened with that. They actually removed his bass tracks. I don't know why they did that, but they had their reasons. I guess they have been using a session bassist. Recently, they haven't revealed the new bassist, and if I'm wrong, anybody can let me know in the comments. And the new album is scheduled for spring of 2022, and that's pretty much all we know. Again, if anybody knows anything, you can bring it in the comments, and that's pretty much the end. It's kind of like they've been like teasing this album for like 5 years almost. Yeah. I guess with everything that has happened, and it got pushed back. I mean, this album was supposed to be out in 2019, but everything kind of got pushed back. So,
well, yeah. I mean, it can't be out, but that's it. They've been hyping it up, especially over the last 5-6 months. They've been, Dave Mustaine's really been hyping it up. And recently, I don't know if you saw it, John, that there was a video leaked that he'd done like a cameo thing. There's that thing called cameo. And he, for this Megadeth fan, he actually played about 15 seconds of a Megadeth song off this new album that no one's heard before. And he played it especially for this guy, and then obviously it got leaked everywhere. So I think you could probably find that. I think it was on Rockfeed. There's a video on Rockfeed.
I know it's on. It's like 15 seconds worth, but So I mean, it's, from what I've heard from the little snippets, I mean, it does sound heavy. So it sounds very fast. A lot of the riffing, but
yeah, sounds good.
We'll see what the whole
really good
thing sounds like, but I'm thinking it's going to be a good album. I think it's good. They're going to bring back more of like a heavy album.
Yeah. I think. Well, I know he's been trying to, as we've said, he's been trying to get that classic Rust in Peace lineup back. I think, especially with Dystopia, he tried to go back to that sound of sort of the late 80s, early 90s sound. It wouldn't surprise me at all if this new album sort of carried that on and maybe sounded more like that than any of their previous albums. But also, like, they've been hyping it up for so long. I think they know that this album is going to be just like a killer and everyone's going to absolutely love it. I think they sort of know in their mind, because they've been talking about it for so long, hyping it up. They kind of have a feeling that everyone's going to like it, basically.
Okay.
I mean, I can't wait for it. I think it's my most anticipated album for this year, just to see, see what they've been coming up with.
This one I'm definitely waiting for this one. I'm predicting, I would say May or June it will probably come out.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll have a single around maybe February or March,
Yeah. They'll have. I'm pretty certain they'll release a single at some point. Hopefully February. But you never know. But as soon as that first single drops, you sort of know that the album will be coming out fairly soon afterwards.
I mean, it's been confirmed, but then again, it's kind of they've been saying that for a couple of years now, but I'm pretty sure it's confirmed for the spring of 22. I don't think they would, they would delay it any longer, but hope not.
Yeah. Just have a quick look in the chat. Dystopia is great. Yep.
Okay, cool. I'm going to step out.
Okay. Marty Ellison was busy. That's funny. Yeah, he was definitely busy. All right. James Amendo. Yeah. Don't know if he's back. I don't think any of us know really. It all depends on. I guess it all depends on him. I guess. I mean, Dave is obviously happy with him to be back in the band, as he's been in the band before. We'll see what happens. I'll be all right with that if he got James Lorenzo back. I thought his bass playing on United Abominations and Endgame was pretty solid. I mean, yeah, Ellison's probably is the better bass player, but Lamento. I mean, is there anyone else really available? Is there anyone else? I mean, probably hard pressed to find anyone better really who's available. Hoping for something decent, yeah. Well, I think we're all sort of hoping for something decent. I think if it's gonna be anything like the previous album, and if it's gonna be like the old stuff, then that's good enough for me. We were just talking about James Lorenzo, whether he's going to be back into the band full time or just as a live musician for now. We don't really know yet.
Yeah.
Right. Okie dokie. So that's pretty much it. I had a little bit of chat saying Dystopia is pretty cool. Any final thoughts or anything in the chat anyone wants to say or talk about? Because I remember last time with the Metallica one, we were talking for a good 25 minutes after we'd finished. But yeah, any final things you want to say? Or is that it?
No, that's all. Actually, continuing from my Metallica, I got since then I've got this one. This is the new Black Album.
Oh, is that the remastered?
It has the remaster. The first CD is just the album remastered. CD 2 is riffs, demos, rough mixes, easy listening music, and CD 3 is live. I like the CD 3 the best. It has a lot of live performances, but also has most of the songs from the Black Album. It has The Unforgiven. It has Creeping Death. It has For Whom the Bell Tolls 1. Whiplash.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool. It's a 3 CD set. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Cool.
So since our last live stream, I picked that up. But as far as with that's about it.
Yeah, that's about it. Well, if that's about it, we'll probably leave it there for this stream. Which I'm happy to leave it here if everyone else is happy to leave it here. We've done an hour and 20 minutes, so that's fair enough. The Metallica one, we went on for a bit longer, but if that's it, that's pretty much it. So for massive thanks to everyone for watching tonight on the stream, or if you even watched this after the fact, massively appreciated. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this stream. What other bands could we do in the future? You know, it's kind of endless because there's so many bands that we could do. I'd love to know anyone's suggestions. I think that'd be really cool. And as for just a quick update for my channel, I'm just going to quickly mention this, that I'm not going to upload a video next week. I'm just going to take a week off. So I'll be back in 2 weeks' time with a video. Massive thanks to John for doing this with me. Massively appreciated that you wanted to do this, another one with me. And until then, give me metal. That's
cool.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you.